My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been frustrated just working with brokers to try and find deals? Have you ever thought, hey, you know what? I'd like to find my own deals. I'd like to create my own opportunities. I'd like to talk with motivated sellers myself instead of relying on MLS or relying on realtors or what have you. Well, if you have, pay close attention to today's guest. Zooming in from a snowy New Hampshire, we've got Jeremy Beland, who is very, very experienced in real estate. He's got a ton of experience in finding off-market deals, in talking with sellers, and getting them to sell his properties. He's also got a ton of experience raising private capital and doing kind of, fix and flip type deals and doing all sorts of different things in real estate. So Jeremy, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Hey, Dave, thanks so much for having me today. It's always a great honor. Second time on your show. I feel like that's a great privilege. So thank you.
My pleasure. So Jeremy, give us a little snapshot as of the beginning of 2026, as we're recording this. What does real estate look like for you these days?
Yeah, we're in our 10th year, which is pretty amazing in itself. Originally we started out as wholesalers, but the way my business model is today up here in New England is, we're all about off-market acquisitions. So we got a lead gen between our marketing channels and acquisition skills and salespeople to get us off-market opportunities every month. And then, we look at different exit models, exit strategies with those properties. So we get them under contract. Do we want to wholesale it? Is it a novation? Are we going to flip it? We're going to turn it into a rental. Do we wholesale it, right? We have all these different exit strategies. A lot of it just depends on, cash now versus cash later, cash flow needs, maximizing revenue, and cash conversion cycles out of our business. And, we lend, leverage a lot of private lending for the lot of properties we take down at any given time. I may own 20, 25 houses that are in the queue, that are all 100% financed by private lending. I don't have any of my own money in any of them, which is pretty amazing. So that's kind of our business model. We're just constantly out there getting new deals every single month and trying to maximize revenue on each one as they come through the office, so to speak.
So what's the market area that you focus on primarily?
Mostly New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. It's like a little bit of a diamond shape of that area. There's certain parts of those states that get a little bit rural where we don't have do any business in, but for the highly populated areas in those three states, that's primarily where we focus our efforts on.
Jeremy, it sounds like you're doing a pretty healthy volume of deals at any one time. What does that kind of look like on a monthly basis?
Yeah, up in this market, I've had success in other markets where we've been in New York and and doing a lot of business in Florida at times, and we had like $1 million operations down there. And, as we're here in our 10th year, we've done over 500 closed acquisitions between the different markets. Some of those markets, all we did was wholesale. But, the way it looks now here in our New England market, New Hampshire and stuff, give or take on any year, where we probably average somewhere between 40 or 50 properties a year. So okay. four or so, five
one a week. Yeah, 4 or 5 a week.
Yeah, more or less.
5
yeah. And that obviously ebbs and flow. We're seasonal around here, and some months we may do 8, some months we do 2, but that's pretty much the average.
Got it. Especially on snowy days like these days, I would have.
Yeah, through the holidays and things of that nature. July, a lot of people enjoy July around here. It can get pretty slow here in the summer.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So just to give people a little background, at the time we're recording this, it's the end of January. They just dug themselves out of 30 inches of snow. So
yeah, exactly.
Talking about that. So Jeremy, to get that volume of deals coming across your desk, there is a serious marketing machine that you guys have set up and that you're managing and that you're operating and that you're just keeping running there. Do you mind kind of pulling back the curtain and letting us have a look at what do you guys do to generate these leads?
Yeah, happy to share all that. I will say that, when it comes to marketing is definitely the most challenging part of our business. Marketing, it's just finicky. It's difficult. Sometimes it works in one area, it doesn't work well in another area, but in general, all marketing works. Obviously some just performs better than others. Really, the key to success in our business is the leads that those are generated from our marketing channels, the ability to convert those leads to not just contracts, but contracts that actually close, right? That conversion cycle, and taking, not 50 leads to a contract that closes, but like taking 50 and turning it into 3 or 4 contracts, and having that ability to, not spend too much money and really maximize the conversion and, the opportunities you have in the leads that you generate. So that's really, really where a lot of our success comes from. We've really honed in our skills and ability to get really good at qualifying those leads and taking them through the whole conversion cycle to generate revenue in the back end. But, we've tried all the different marketing channels over the years. What we found here now, we focus mostly on TV. TV,
Really?
TV works well for us. High conversion cycle, low lead volume. PPC, pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click. That's really been my bread and butter for about 9 of the 10 years I've been in business. It's worked out really well for us. SEO, we spend a good amount of money on SEO. We have for a long, long time. So, in the organic searches online, we're number one in most keywords around the area and have been for a long time. So those are our primary marketing channels. We do some cold outreach through text messaging and things like that in specific spots here in New England. But in majority of it, we don't do too much cold outreach anymore, which is like text messaging, cold calling, direct mail. We're mostly just focused on incoming leads. But we're really good at taking those high cost leads and converting them for a good ROI.
Interesting. Okay. So that's the real secret to your success. Then that's what kind of differentiates you from other operators doing something similar, is you're able to convert a lot more of those leads, if I understood correctly, sometimes 2 or 3 times better conversion than otherwise. So what are some of the things that you do differently than other operators to get that conversion so much higher?
Yeah, I mean, it's really in depth, but really comes down to not making it a sales approach, right? We call it a sales part of the business, but it's not really sales. So, a lot of it's just, when I talk about our business first, we're a marketing company first. So we're out there marketing to generate the opportunities, but our service is really customizing tailored solutions for people who have problems. Now, distress comes in all various ways. When we think of distress, we always think about that dilapidated house that's fallen apart as distress, or pre-foreclosure, or tax delinquency, right? Those are signs of distress. Mm-hmm. But other distress comes in certain ways too, right? You have somebody who just got a new job and needs to relocate in like 45 days, and they don't have time to list a house on the market. They maybe inherited a house but live somewhere else, and whatever the case is. So we have all these opportunities to come in. We don't really push sales on them. Our goal is to come in and really provide them with as much value as we can. And at the end of the day, we are either a fit for them or not. And, without getting too involved into how we run through this process, basically how it comes out is we come out, we disarm them, basically say, hey, we're not going to do business with you today. Chances are we're not even going to do any business. We hope to, but we're probably not, right? And then we basically want to build rapport with them to get them to open up with us, because it's hard to open up about what's going on in your life to a complete stranger. Yeah. So we need to build that rapport so they can open up, because at the end of the day, we need them to open up so we understand exactly what's going on. What are their problems? What kind of solutions can we help them, with those problems? Where are they trying to get to? How can we get them there, right? So we have to uncover this whole thing and put together a roadmap. Now, we're either a fit for that roadmap or we're not. And then we are, then at the end of it, basically, we don't really make it about numbers and drawing a line in the sand, and I'm going to offer this, and I'm only going to accept that. Basically, how it works at the end is we put them through this journey that they either want to do business with us or not. They feel like we're a fit for them or not. And if those things align, now it's more, when it comes to working on a price, it's more of a collaboration to find what number is a win-win for both parties. Like, hey, Jeremy, I like everything that you're saying. I didn't even know you could help me with problem A, B, and C, and D. This is amazing. I didn't even know that was a possibility. I'm okay taking less money because these problems you solving these problems add more value than just the monetary value that I'm trying to receive. So if you can do that, I really like to do business with you because I feel like there's certainty that you're going to get this done for me and solve my problem so I can get to those next steps in my life. How do we come to an agreement on price that works for you and me? And then that's kind of how we do it in like a nutshell without getting too into the depths of the weeds of it all.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Well, you know what I find very helpful, Jeremy, if you're open to it, if you could share a kind of a recent win, somebody that you've worked with, we won't use their name, obviously, but an example of one of these people that you've helped out. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what their situation is, what the property was, and what you guys did with it, and how, maybe walk us through that process with an actual example.
Yeah. So, we had this property that was brought to us by a realtor, not too long ago. Actually, it's probably a little bit more than a year ago, but this is a good story. So the realtor reaches out to us and says, hey, we have this opportunity. We'd like you to meet with this seller. It was a probate situation. The siblings inherited the house through a trust. They need to sell it. They have another family member living in it. We tried to do some pocket listings because this house needs some love. And she's been sabotaging it. And I can't get people in there, and we don't know what to do. They're forced to sell, but she won't leave. So we ended up going out to meet with the, I told them, I said, first of all, I need to make sure all decision makers are there, right? Because I know with probate, because one person is the executor of the estate, doesn't mean that's the person making all the decisions. If there's other siblings involved, they all have,
Was it a sibling living in the place, or
it was a sibling living in it? Yeah. So it was 4 siblings. I only knew about 2 that we were going to meet that day. And, we sat down with them, and basically, they had 2 properties that they were selling. One we met at, and this one. And they were like, listen, we need to sell this house. She's lived there for like 15 years. Her daughter lives upstairs on Section 8. It's a 2-family, but she's sabotaging everything. She's telling people there's mold and this and that, and I can't get anybody in there. And to make a long story short, we were able to come up with a solution to take it as is. I said, listen, if I can't walk into it, I need to obviously prepare myself for the worst. And they agreed, and we went through everything there. And, all of a sudden we agree on terms and pricing, which was basically 50 cents on the dollar. This house was probably an ARV after repair value of $500,000. We came at a price of like $250, and they said, okay, yeah, I think so. And I said, all right, well, would you like me to go out to get my contract in the car? We can move forward. And they said, well, we have to run it by our brother. I was like, wait, there's another sibling here? I didn't know there's
the third one that you didn't know about. Yeah.
So I said, we need to get that person on the phone. They're like, well, we haven't talked to him in about a year or so. I don't even know if his number works. I'm like, well, I'm here. Let's get him on. They called him. He actually answered. Then I had to go through the whole process again of this, problem solutions. And then the 3 of them were there. And I said, listen, my wife and I, because my wife and I took this appointment in the realtors, I said, we're going to just go step outside. You guys decide what you need to do and figure out if we're the right solution for you or not. We went outside. They talked.
So again, sir, just to clarify, you haven't talked at all with the sibling that's living in the house?
We did.
Oh, you did?
No, I had no contact with that.
No, at that point you did.
That sibling was not a decision maker. I was inheriting that sibling if I bought the house. Yeah. I'll get a little bit more into that in a second. So the other 3 siblings are really the decision makers. They talk it over. They tell us to come back in. They said, and it was really the brother that we called on the phone that really was able to push the other 2 siblings into like, this is the best decision, right? We're going to take a little bit less money, but what other options do we have here? How else are we going to sell this property? This guy is willing to take it sight unseen with a tenant,
with our sister in there. Yeah.
With a sister who's not paying any rent and is willing to deal with the whole thing, right? And my goal was to basically take the property and help relocate her and take care of her without really going through an eviction process. They agreed to all that. We ended up signing the contract. And next thing I know, I'm closing on a property a week later that I own. And now I have to go meet this lady. I'm knocking on a door, and, she's like, who are you? What's going on? You're under contract. You own this house, blah, blah, blah. And I tried really hard to work with her. And eventually she just basically said, I'm not working with you. And we ended up going through an eviction process. And I helped her out as much as I could all the way to the very end. And, it took a long time. But to make a long story short, I bought this house with somebody else's money, private money, right? So I bought it with 100% of my private lender's money. No points, no monthly.
250,000.
Yeah. Just make the balloon payment on the backside. Originally, we were going to flip the house, but it took us like 8 to 9 months to get through this eviction.
Wow.
So when it was all said and done, we finally got them out and got her a new place, got her in with her daughter into another Section 8, which was another thing we did behind the scenes. And then we cleaned out the house and I threw it on the market and we made $100,000 profit immediately without doing anything. So the realtors were great because I paid them to bring me the deal in the beginning. I solved the problem with all these siblings, solved the problem with the siblings and her daughter in the house. And then I gave the agents the listing on the back end and, they made commission twice. I made $100,000. I just had to wait a 9-month process of doing it. So those are the type of deals that we do on a regular basis. It's one thing to get the marketing and get the deal. Where you really earn your business is from when you get the contract or you own the property, or I should say, once you get the contract, until you can get that property free and clear of anybody that's living in it. There's a lot of hand holding, a lot of challenges that go on behind the scene. And that's really where you earn your living in this business.
Well, what I picked up on also, Jeremy, at the top of the call, you just rattled off like 5 or 6 different exit strategies that you have
Yes.
with the property, right? So
yes,
you're not just 100% focused on you're only doing wholesale deals or you're only doing flips or you're only doing this. You've got a variety of different ways that you can profit from a property by offering different solutions for the seller. And that just, the more tools you have in your toolbox, the easier it is to do a deal, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, 100%. But also it allows us to be more consistent and, just have more just more redundancy within the business, right? So for an example, wholesaling is great, but you can, some deals come along that are such good deals.
Yeah.
You don't really want to wholesale them. You want to just have control of them, right? Sometimes we do properties where we buy them and do a lease carryback where the seller lives in the property for 30, 60, 90 days for free because I get it at such a good price. I don't want to put it out there and risk, AKA any issues of it falling apart because time's a deal kill in this business. But also, when we think of like 2021 and 22, we saw the fastest spike in interest rates history, right? Happened during that time. If you were flipping houses and that was your only exit strategy, there was a lot of people that were stuck with all their money, all the resources into these houses that now were not doing anything on the market because nobody could afford to do them. Yeah. During that time, I didn't flip any houses. I went with my other exit strategy. So I can change and evolve with the changes of the market, right? And, sometimes it's good times to flip. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's great to wholesale. Sometimes it's not, right? So I have this ability to ebb and flow deal to deal, market to market, and just allows me more redundancy to stay competitive.
So as we're kind of wrapping up our conversation, Jeremy, tell me a little bit about the raising capital side of your business and how you typically structure these deals. Are you doing individual joint ventures with individual partners? Do you use hard money lenders? What is that side of the financing side of things look like?
Yeah, so I use hard money only as needed. It's very, very rare. I use true private lending. Now, a lot of times when people say, hey, I do private lending, they're still brokering money for somebody else, which that is not private lending. Private lending is somebody using their own money, whether that's money out of their self-directed IRA, 401k, whole life insurance, or a line of credit, HELOC, cash in their bank, whatever that is, that's their own money. And when I first started off, I just thought, like, how do people get into private lending? Like, how do I find these people, like these mythical gods that, like, how do they exist?
All this cash available for me.
Right. And the reality is they're everywhere, right? And private lenders are just a commodity in this industry. And so many people have money and they love real estate, but they don't want to fix and flip houses. They don't want to own rental properties, but they watch HGTV and they have this money and they want to invest it and get great returns. And it's so much more fun and sexy putting it into a property where somebody could do something great with it, rather than just leaving it somewhere where maybe getting 4, 6, or 8% interest if they're lucky. So, but a lot of these people are people that we know personally within our sphere. And it's really just about, letting them know that we have these opportunities and then educating them, because they don't know how it all works. They don't know like how we use the money. And so you got to spend some time grooming them. But once you put them through once or twice, they're like, I don't want my money back. When's the next deal? Just keep them moving, right?
Just keep it.
So there's a little bit of work on the front end, but the reality is everybody has them. If you went right through your Rolodex on your cell phone, you'd probably pick up a handful today. The way we structure it, again, because, the way I feel is, I love my private lenders. They're really important to us. I take good care of them, but they're a dime a dozen. And the way we do it is like, hey, listen, we got a business model. If you want to work with us, we want you to give us 100% of everything we need. So we want 100% of the closing costs, the acquisition costs, the rehab costs, and everything. I'm not going to pay you any points down. I'm not paying you any monthly interest rates. I'm going to pay you maybe a little bit of a higher interest rate, but I'm going to pay you a balloon payment, which means I'm going to pay you all your interest on the resale of the property, or when I go to refinance it, and that's when you're going to get it. So this allows us not to have, I just told you I could have as many as 20, 25 deals going at once. If I get a percentage of my money into every deal, or if I'm making monthly payments on that or putting down payments, that's going to make my cash flow hurt a lot. It's going to make me broke, right? So this is the way we structure it. It works really, really well for us. At times I could have as much as $8 million on the streets working for me. And, it's 100% financed by my private lenders, true private lenders.
So how do you typically structure that? Is it like it's a debt thing. So are they secured on title with the property? Is that
yes,
kind of
exactly. Yeah, I do a personal guarantee with them. They're secured by the property. So God forbid if I ever step off a sidewalk, get hit by a bus, they're protected. And a lot of our properties, if not all of them, we get them at such low cost at any point during that process, they could get the property, resell it as is, get all their money back plus some. So they're very, very protected. And listen, there's been times where we've taken some L's, and there's been some times I had to go back and renegotiate it with them. And they've been very willing to work with me as long as you're open and transparent about the good and the bad. Good lenders love you as much as you do them. So some of our lenders, we're looking at their audits from last year. Some of them made a couple $100,000 to $300,000 in interest alone from us. Wow. And that's all they do. Is their full-time job is lending to my company. It's a good living. So we're just as important to them as they are to us.
Very, very cool. Yeah. No, that makes so just logistically, I'm wondering, is there like a minimum time frame or a minimum interest that you pay them for the balloon payment? Or is it depending?
Yeah. So outside of doing some like double closes, like, same day transactional closings, our shortest exit strategy is typically a wholesale. That's when we buy a property, clean it out, and kind of list it as is. Those average a life, historically with our company, historically close to close are about a cycle of 45 days. We guarantee them a minimum of 60 days, because at 45 days, sometimes it's not they may make $1,500, right? For wiring us that money. It's not even worth their time. So at least at 60 days, they're good. And then it just prorates accordingly from there on out. But sometimes lenders will lend us for, 12 months, 18 months, but typically it ranges on average from, 60 days to 12 months at any time in between.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So Jeremy, fascinating stuff. Love having you on the show. Thanks for coming on again. If people are watching this, listening to this, they want to connect with you, find out more, where should they go?
Yeah, the best thing is just find me online. Jeremy Beland, Beland, Jeremy Beland. I'm all over social media, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook. If you reach out to me, you ask some questions. I talk to people every day, Dave, and I'm always trying to help people out. I'm not even looking to get anything in return. This business has been great to me, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. I just want to keep it real and help people build a life of freedom through real estate investing like I have, man. It's been a blessing.
Oh, awesome. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. See you on the next one. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.